We're having some trigger control issues, yeah? No? Yeah. All right. So we're going to do a couple of dry trigger control exercises, and we'll talk about, well, my concept of trigger control or what I like to do. All right. What we want to do with the trigger, I think, is just roll through it. Like stack up pressure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pounds, whatever, until the gun goes off. Now, that's going to happen at different times with different guns. The lighter triggers with less travel, obviously you can be way more aggressive with those and still shoot the gun straight. If it's a apexed out like Glock like this, it's not too bad. If it's a stock Glock, it's going to be a little tougher. Double action triggers, it's a little tougher, but the concept's the same. All I do or want to do is like roll pressure onto the trigger, just stack it up until the gun goes off. Okay? Yes? Now we're going to do 2 versions of this. I'm going to mount the gun, look at the spot on the target, and I'm going to have my finger off the trigger. Now people do a lot of different techniques, like they'll prep the trigger to the wall and then press through, or they'll be like, oh, just let it out to the reset, click, click, bang, stuff like that to help manage the trigger. What I want to do for training is have it be as realistic as possible. And what that means is I'm going to have to decide to shoot really aggressively. So to be like, yep, I want to shoot now. And I just pull all the way through the trigger, if that makes sense. So there's not going to be like a staging element to this at all. I'm just going to pull through the trigger. Now I'm going to look at that, the aiming reference, finger just off the trigger, but inside the guard. And now I'm going to react. But instead of reacting to something visual, I'll react to the timer and then rip back the trigger. Okay, so what's going to be the key? Beep, click, nothing moved, right? What's the key to pulling the trigger without moving anything? Grip. Yeah, exactly. Like I need to pull the trigger without the other muscles in my hand getting involved. That's the key to the whole thing. So like we have to be very conscious of, hey, hold the gun, just hold the gun with your hand. You don't have to squeeze on it. Also the other thing where it's like, hey, relaxing the pressure, especially in your middle finger, so I'm not clamping down on the gun. I want to be able to move the finger without anything sympathetically moving. It's another reason like putting more thumb pressure on the gun, I don't think that's really helpful because you see all these muscles are connected and it's pretty difficult like when I clamp down my hand to move my trigger finger without moving other stuff. Does that make sense? Now you're going to get to the limit, like depending on your ability and the equipment you have, you'll get to the point where, okay, I can't rip the trigger back and still hit the stuff in the way I want to, depending on a lot of stuff. And then I would say, hey, conscious deliberate press would be like another level or another thing that I can confirm with. So if you come up where you can see the gun, let me show you what I mean. I'm going to aim at a spot, at the tone, rip it back. At the tone, rip it back. Now, is the gun moving a lot? No. But did it move some? Yeah, like I can perceive the dot flicking over like 1/4 of an inch on the paster. At this distance, no big deal. But if I was shooting at like 50 yards, it might be a deal. So now I have conscious deliberate press, where I just rolled the pressure on over a little more time, but I wouldn't say I did it slowly. I just was conscious of my finger and pressed straight back in. All right, when the shots get demanding enough, I can flip my conscious brain onto my finger and just make sure I'm pulling the trigger straight. Does that make sense to everyone? We're gonna go through these 2 things. So it'll be like beep, smash, and you make sure you pull the trigger straight. We should be able to stack a pretty good group like this. We'll do it dry, and then we'll do it live, all right? And then also conscious deliberate press, we'll do on that too. Does that make sense to everybody? Cool. Kill that.